Hello friends, and welcome back to the channel. I'm Nick, and this is MSFS Flight Plans, a place where we're usually flying all around the world trying to find the best looking, most interesting, coolest sights on the planet. And as we fly around those spots, I'll give you a little personal tour, learning as much as I can in the day or two before each flight so I can tell you about the stuff that we're looking at on the ground. And that's been all fine and dandy while I'm looking at this stuff in Little NavMap. This is my version of it here, obviously. And you can see I've got a satellite image. I'll make a comment on that here in just a second. But it's awfully hard for you guys without having those bookmarks to indicate the stuff that we were looking at, either while we were taking the flight or if you're trying to look at it on your version of Little NavMap, to see them without the bookmarks unless you want to go through here and bookmark them all yourself. And I'll show you how to do that as well if you feel like you want to do it or add anything else to it. But if you look through our video description, there's always going to be a link to the flight plan. And if you import that into Little NavMap, it'll look like this. And this is our upcoming flight to Baltimore. It'll be the next one that we upload the next day or two. And if it winds up looking just like this, I'm not quite done with it yet. If you just bring in the flight plan, it looks just like this. But as you know, at the end of each of our flights, we'll take a look at the satellite map, zoom in, look at a little bit more detail. Some of the stuff might not be photogrammetry, so it may look a little bit better in the satellite map. And there's often spots that are off the beaten path that I want to show you that you may want to check out if you want to redraw the flight plan a little bit. And if you don't know how to do that, check out one of our other tutorials about how to adjust the flight plan. But without the bookmarks, it's really, really hard for you guys, if this is all you have in there, to see the things that we were looking at on the flight. So I've been trying to figure out how I could get you guys a file that will bring the bookmarks in, and I think I have figured out how to do that, and that is what this video is about. So a bit of a caveat with that. I have not yet brought them in from the link. I'm going to take you all the way up to the point where I import them, but I did post that link on our Discord server a few days ago. Several of our members tried it, said that it was working, so I think this is going to work for you just fine. If it doesn't, please let me know, and I'll try to figure out exactly what's going on with that. But this should work, what I'm going to describe to you. First thing I want to address real quick, because people are always asking about this, and I did mention it on one of our other Little NavMap tutorials, is why, Nick, are you seeing a satellite image in there? I'm not seeing that in Little NavMap. And if you go over here and click on this little globe up at the top, you'll see some options for different map settings. So if you have the streets over there, it'll put all the streets in. But the Mapbox satellite is what I got when I first got Little NavMap, and this was quite a while ago. It was years ago, and they may have charged me something for it. I said initially that I didn't think that they did, but some other people have tried to do it. They wanted a credit card, and whatever I paid, it wasn't a lot because I'm a tightwad, and it was definitely well worth it. And they've never charged me again since then. So I would encourage you, if you like to do sightseeing in the sim and you want to be able to draw your flight plan over the things you're trying to see, it's well worth it, in my opinion, to do that. The cost, again, I don't know. It was a long time ago when I did that, but that's what you need to get, the Mapbox satellite, to make this a satellite image, and it's been updated fairly recently too. So all the stuff should be fairly recent for most regions. All right, so how do we get the bookmarks in here? What I'm going to do is pull up our most recent flight, which was out in Cairns, Australia. And let's see, let's just go ahead and bring this whole thing right over here. I may have to pause this a second because I have a feeling once I click on this, it's going to start playing something, which is not a problem. All right, so there's Cairns. Let's just go ahead and pause this right out of the gate. All right, there's the Peacock ad. So the first thing you want to do is just expand this part down here. And if you want to join our Discord server, by the way, there's a link for that. Here's the normal link that we always have for our flight plan, and this is going to be the new one included in every video that I post now. This is not just the bookmarks for the most recent flight. It is the file for all the flights we've taken. Again, over 100 of them now. So if you download this and install the whole thing into Little NavMap, you won't have to go back and pick and choose and search for old flights. All of them will be in here. So you just click on that, and it's going to bring you to this site called Box, which is kind of like a Google Drive. And then you'll come up here to the top, just click Download. When it comes in, if you have Excel or something like that, it is a CSV file, so it can bring it into whatever format you like. If for some reason you don't want to bring in every bookmark, and you can see we have hundreds of them at this point, you can imagine we probably have 20 to 70 bookmarks on every flight, and these are for all the flights we've ever taken. Some of these are the notes. So here's what the actual bookmark label says. Here's the coordinates. If I had some notes, they're going to be over here, and I hope none of those were inappropriate. I didn't sort through that to make sure I didn't put any foul language in there. I probably didn't. And then down here is the dates over all the way on the right here. So it's sorted in, at least in this one, ascending order. So the most recent flights would be all the way at the very bottom. If for some reason you don't want to bring in all of the bookmarks for all the flights we've ever taken, once you get this open in Excel or wherever you want to open it, you can just delete everything except the date for the most recent flight, which would be all the way down here at the bottom. I'm not going to scroll all the way down to that. So then you'll come up here to the top, hit download, which I think I already did once, but we'll do it again just for good measure. And you can just get out of this thing, and then we'll go back into Little NavMap. So let's just go ahead and drop that down for now. In Little NavMap, you'll come over to User Points up at the top, and then hit Import CSV, and it should, at least if your computer's like mine, take you right to your Downloads folder, and there it is right there. So you just double click on that, or click it once, and then hit Open, and it'll probably take you through a couple of things, prompts saying, do you really want to load this? I'm not sure what happens from here because, again, I haven't done it. They're already all loaded into my computer. But according to the guys on Discord that tried it, it's working. So that's how you would do it. And once you do that, this is what it's going to look like. You go up to this little star here, which is where you select which bookmarks you want to see, or user points as they call them in here. So I just turned them all off just so we'd have a nice clean slate. I'm going to turn them all back on now. And there they are. So you can imagine here flying over Baltimore. I mean, some of this stuff is so tiny, I'd never be able to see it again if I didn't have the bookmarks on it. Obviously, stadiums are easy to spot, but look at this. Babe Ruth's birthplace. I would never be able to pick that thing out without the bookmark on there. So there's a lot of stuff on here, the little minutia that would be a lot easier to see, or if you're just flying around like I am and trying to do a narration, to be able to look over here and say, okay, here's what we're coming up on. There's that bridge that just collapsed, which is one of the reasons why we're flying up here. And if you zoom out a little bit, just to give you a sense of how many bookmarks we've got and how much it could add to any other flights that we're taking. So obviously this is probably New York City down here. Look at all this stuff. So that would really help a lot, I would think, unless you want to go back here and do all this work yourself for your next sightseeing tour and put bookmarks on everything you're trying to see. So that should get them in there for you. Now, if you want to add some additional bookmarks, again, I did mention this in one of our other tutorial videos, but let's just go back down to, well, let's come down to Jacksonville since that's where I live right now. And let's say you want to put a bookmark on, well, heck, let's just put one up. See, this is the nearest airport to my house. Now, let's say it wasn't labeled for some reason, and I just wanted to put a bookmark next to that. Just right click on it. Over here to user points, add user point here. It'll ask what you want to call it, not Chesapeake Bay Bridge probably, unless you just want to call an airport that. Hit OK. And there it is right there. Pops it right in. If you want to move it, hover over it for just a second, right click it again, and then you can go to delete, move it, whatever you want to do. So if you want to move it, just drag it over here. There you go. It's moved. So it's just that easy for the user points. That'll bring them all into the sim for you. I think it's going to make life a lot easier. I know a lot of you guys like to fly these flights just as we're flying them. You want to see the stuff that we're looking at in there. This should help out a lot. Let me know if you're running into any issues with that. I don't think there's going to be any problems, but if there are, let me know and I'll get another video out that will clear all that stuff up for you. Can't wait to see you all again in the skies. Later.